From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Monday, July 14th. Here are today's headlines. Funerals were held over the weekend for two Palestinians, one a U.S. citizen, killed in the West Bank. 20-year-old Saifullah Musallat was beaten to death by Israeli settlers in the town of Sinjar, northeast of Ramallah. His friend Mohammed Hussein al-Shalabi was fatally shot in the same attack. The National's Thomas Helm reports.
I was in the town of Turmasaya for the funerals of Saifullah Musallat and Mohammed al-Shalabi. The town was completely dead. All the shops were closed in solidarity, apart from bakeries and pharmacies. But as you wound up the hill to Saifullah's family home, the crowds started to gather. At first, it was women sat inside the walls of the house, but then men arrived to pick up the body, and the emotion was immediately felt very keenly.
Musallat is a U.S. citizen from Tampa, Florida. His family said medics were delayed for hours by a mob before his brother managed to carry him to an ambulance, but he died before reaching the hospital.
I've been to similar funerals before, but what was striking about this one in Turmasaya was the amount of Americans. The town is very famous for having a large Palestinian U.S. community, and it was very easy to find people to talk to that knew Saifullah, whether through family connections or through the social life of the village. Many people were also in his hometown of Tampa, Florida. People would also come back to Turmasaya from across the US for the summer holidays, and we're currently in that season now.
The Palestinian Health Ministry identified the second victim in the attack as 23-year-old Hussein al-Shalabi. He died after being shot in the chest. The Wafa news agency say 10 other people were wounded in the attack.
The attack's significant for a number of reasons. First of all, Saifullah is an American citizen, and every time an American Palestinian is killed at the hands of the Israeli state, then the massive support that the US gives to Israel is thrown into sharp relief, the contradictions in it, because this is a country that gets so much military and diplomatic support, but also is incapable of, at best, protecting US citizens in the West Bank, and at worst is responsible for killing them. But for most of the killings of US Palestinians in the West Bank have been at the hands of the Israeli military. So another thing that was significant about Saifullah's killing was the fact that it was settlers that did it, and he was beaten to death by them, not shot as we've seen in previous cases. In terms of what comes next, well, the people in the town itself were pessimistic about there ever being any form of justice. The US State Department so far hasn't said much about the case. It acknowledged that it was aware of what was going on, but hasn't announced anything further as of yet.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, the death toll from Israel's ongoing offensive has surpassed 58,000, according to Gaza's health ministry. Ceasefire talks are stalling over the condition of full Israeli withdrawal. Syrian authorities have closed a border crossing with Turkey after forest fires spread near the coastal area northwest of the country. Officials said that crews have largely scaled down the threat, but parts of Syria are continuing to burn in unprecedented wildfires. They started on July 2nd amid one of the worst droughts in Syria in decades, and after a wave of sectarian killings on the coast. The National's Khaled Yacoub Oweis reports.
A spokesman for Syria's civil defense told The National that most of the fires have been contained, but that the threat to Turkey of the fire spreading into Turkey remains. He pointed out two areas in the so-called, or what is known as, the Turkmen Mountain, about 2-3 kilometers from the border with Turkey. He said two areas in that mountain have active fires, hence the threat to Turkey.
The flames have engulfed once lush sections of Syria's Latakia province and along its coastal region. More than 15,000 hectares across Latakia have burned.
The forest fires, which are concentrated in coastal areas, have destroyed at least 5% of Syria's green cover. And this green cover is sparse. It only constitutes around 2% of Syria's total area. Decades of illegal logging, illegal buildings, and of course the civil war have undermined Syria's green cover.
Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, says Tehran is, quote, not afraid of returning to negotiations on its nuclear program. That's after having received, quote unquote, numerous invitations from the U.S. But Araghchi said his country needs to be certain that Washington remains committed to the talks and would not launch military strikes if they collapse. Tehran and Washington have held 5 rounds of nuclear talks, mediated by Oman, since April. A 6th round was scheduled for June 15th, but it was canceled after Israel launched a surprise attack on Iran days before. The U.S. later joined the conflict, striking 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Iranian state media reported this statement from Araghchi, quote, in the middle of the negotiations, we encountered a change in the direction of the negotiations towards a military option, and this was a betrayal that the Americans committed not to us, but to diplomacy, unquote. Iranian reports also recently surfaced saying Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian was injured in an Israeli attack on Tehran on June 16th during the 12-day war. That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories and follow our live coverage at our site. And before you go, we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts on our podcast offerings by filling out a survey, which you can find as a link in this episode's description. Yasmin Altaji, The National.